allow the two
It's okay. It's okay. Off your mind. It's okay. Off your mind.
Chai! Now wow, people wey suppose talk truth to power don off mic. And if we talk, now 500,000 they go sama us, call am hate speech. But fear not, my ego don't come. Him go torchlight every corner, nooks and cranny of all these bad people where they spoil our country. So my people make we laugh, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. My people make we shout, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, man of the masses, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. My ego diary politico, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. This one not the off in mind, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. Can in the touchlight every corner, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. Okay, some people be they holla say they want the power. Chai, them be promise us say we go get light and power. Nah. Them hustle sote they can't get the power. But now they know they do anything with the power. Sure. Every day, dollar just they get the higher power over Naira. Still them talk say make we off mind. But thank God say my ego don't come. So my people make you laugh, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. My people make we shout, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, man of the masses, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. My ego diary politico, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. This one not they off in mind, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. Person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that my egun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say my egun diary, he they hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Woman picking, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say make we no talk. But thank God say my egun don't come. So my people make you laugh, oh yo yo. My egun don't. Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun diary na him be number one. Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun diary na him be number one. Mayegun ti dé o ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú. Mayegun diary na him be number one. Lórí Facebook lórí YouTube. Mayegun diary na him be number one. Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Mayegun já wa sí. Mayegun diary na him be number one. Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o. Mayegun diary na him be number one. Bó bá ṣe eré àní Mayegun máa wí. Mayegun diary na him be number one. Ó sì tún ṣe eré wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o. Mayegun diary na him be number one. Mayegun diary politico. Mayegun diary na him be number one. Godfatherism kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Mayegun. Mayegun diary na him be number one. Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o kẹgbọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o. Mayegun diary na him be number one. Àní Mayegun làwa mọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun diary na him be number one. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Mayegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Lórí Facebook. Mayegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Lórí YouTube. Mayegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́. Mayegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Bíjó ìgbádìyẹ. Mayegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. ẹ̀sìn tó bá rúfin o.
Máyégún wà ní.
Àní ẹ̀ sọ́ra jù.
Máyégún ti dé.
Hello there. It feels strange. Good morning to you. Good afternoon to you. And good evening to you from wherever you are joining us. It is Mayegun Live. And of course, there are so many, there are so many things that will not look same. In fact, everything probably doesn't even look same. But listen, brethren, remember that all you have to do at first is, after reading the caption of the broadcast, read the description of the broadcast as well. Like it, share it, invite your friends, invite your not so friendly friends. Tell them that Mayegun is live, even though I am live in America, not in our own studio as usual. But the gist can still happen just anywhere. So I'm going to implore us to kindly just manage the picture in case if the picture is not as great, but I bet it is also not as poor as it can be. So thank you so much for joining me from wherever you are tuning in from. I tried to meet up with the time difference, by the way, and I hope that I'm able to keep up with that. Indeed. So from the writer of this broadcast, where the Nigerian Service Chiefs, CDS, Chief of Defense Staff, as well as the contingent of the Nigerian Army. Some were granted their visa, others were denied the Canadian visa. I bet you probably have been following that, have you? It is grand. So, one moment. So if you have been following that, mine is to possibly give you idea of what really went wrong. Normally, Canada shouldn't have even granted them, any of them, visa. Do you know why they are going to Canada? Anybody who has a clue? Do you have a clue of why they are going to Canada? It's crazy if I tell you why. Nigerian Army, and then their service chiefs, they were going to Canada to celebrate the Nigerian soldiers injured fighting terrorists in Nigeria. I mean, that is why they are going to Canada. These guys applied for Canadian visa. Some soldiers, some of their contingent, then the service chiefs, they were going to Canada to go and celebrate the injured soldiers in Nigeria. The soldiers that they are not paying well, soldiers they are paying 50,000, 60,000 naira minimum wage. There is no real better welfare or what have you for these soldiers. No. These guys were going to Canada to go and participate in a celebration put together by this agency or what have you, right? And they want to go and do Nigerian soldiers' remembrance and celebrate them in Canada. And they were going to actually spend hundreds of millions of naira. So they then got denied. Not all of them. Some of them actually got their own visas approved. But you see all those senior officers like the service chief, the service chiefs like these CDS, Musa, and others, they got theirs denied. And that has triggered an endless raging, ranting from the Thiefnubu's illegitimate regime in Abuja, starting with Ribadu. It was actually the Ribadu that got really mad. Musa himself said, well, maybe it's a blessing in disguise. Like, he didn't have to go anyway, but I'll stay in Nigeria and celebrate the soldiers here. But Ribadu and that thief, Olubumi Ojo, they have been all over the media, threatening the Canadian embassy. This is embarrassing. How could you deny us visa? This is an embarrassment to Nigeria. What kind of, this is an insult. In fact, you guys have been looking down on us. You, these foreign countries, you have been looking down on us. You have been treating us with like a piece of shit and all of that stuff. That you want to go to Canada to spend millions of your Nigeria money to go and celebrate the underpaid, poorly paid Nigerian soldiers in Canada. That's ridiculous on its own. But people have been trying to dig into why were they denied. There is this report of, it is of international value, by the way, that the Nigerian army, they have been carrying out extrajudicial killings in eastern part of Nigeria. True story. You see all these things that we share on this platform, right? They are mostly information that are already available out there. But some of you are not really interested in details, so you probably never really see them as anything until issue like this pops up and you are like wondering why, what happened, Nigerian army has been secretly killing innocent people in eastern part of Nigeria and the southern part of Nigeria on record. Similarly, the Nigerian police, they also have a very terrible record when it comes to some of these foreign countries. See, you have, I think it was last week or last 2 weeks, thereabouts. I think it's about like 9 days ago. There was also a report where a contingent of Nigerian policemen, they wanted to go to Canada. Okay, Canada, Isha. They wanted to go to Canada, right? And they were denied visa too. This one was pretty much clear. They said Nigerian police has the reputation for corruption as well as human rights abuses. And there is no point in bringing them to Canada. That's what they said. They denied them. Even though on this particular one, or this CDS, Musa and others, in their own right, they did not categorically state that it is because of human rights abuses associated with these guys. But that's a true story. In Nigeria, they have been telling you that the innocent people that they are harassing and even killing in eastern part of Nigeria, they are IPOB members. You have been hearing that, right? But the truth of the matter is that established fact shows that, you see, majority of those they have brutalized, illegally imprisoned in eastern part of Nigeria, these are like ordinary common people who have nothing to do with any act of criminality, but because to cover their track and the continuation of, the ethnic cleansing, which some of you love to deny, by the way. You do love to deny. Nigeria is a place where people they won't believe something is really happening except when it happens to them. Do you get that now? As we say not even like, I think it's an African proverb, right? That says that when you carry somebody else's corpse, it just feels like a log of wood. But when you carry somebody you love, your own loved ones, like the corpse of your loved one, it becomes so heavy, like you are pretty much like carrying a sack of wool. That's exactly what it is to some of our people in Nigeria. When people are targeted by the criminal rogue government and their agents in Nigeria, people will be asking you, well, what did you do? What did they do? So the act of saying, oh, you have a democracy and therefore everybody's right is enshrined in your democratic whatever nonsense, right? It's just in the figment of your own imagination. So this brutality, these human rights abuses, all these extrajudicial killings and what have you, right? Once in a while, you see, these foreign embassies do kind of like act on them. But Canadian embassy says they are not going to tell us why they denied them this. So in one of their reactions, right? I think I even have I have a clip of Musa, and I think that was Musa reacting to it. Let me show you.
There's an event to honor our veterans, those that were injured during battle. remember last year the Duke of Sussex visited Nigeria with his wife. Through the Invictus, they have a foundation that they try to raise the morale of troops all over the world that have suffered one form of deformity or the other in the course of defending their individual countries. So we're supposed to be there. And actually, half of my team have already gone, but unfortunately, the Canadian embassy, for knowledge best known to them, denied us visa. So I wasn't sure, and so I wanted to be silent about it. But when we couldn't get the visa, I said, this is a blessing in disguise. So I'm really very happy to be here. And I think this is just a clear reminder to us that we're on our own, that we need to stand strong as a nation so that nobody takes us for granted. You could imagine we were invited for the event with our team. Our team, half have gone, half have been denied. So the competition is ongoing with half players there and half back here. It's really very disappointing. But we thank God for everything. So it is with great honor and a deep sense of responsibility that I stand before you to give the opening remarks as chairman for this historic maiden annual lecture of the Alumni Association of the National Institute for Security Studies. Let me begin by commending the leadership and members of the Alumni Association for organizing this event, which serves as a platform for critical discourse on issues of national and global security. The National Institute for Security Studies has over the years established itself as a citadel of excellence in the training and development of security professionals. Its alumni, many of whom are here today, have gone to make significant contributions to the security architecture of Nigeria and beyond. This gathering, therefore, is not only a celebration of the Institute's legacy, but also a testament to the enduring relevance of its mission in an ever-evolving security landscape. Events like this also create valuable opportunities for key stakeholders to exchange ideas and insights that are essential for enhancing our national security and development. The theme of today's lecture, which is mobilizing stakeholders to curb insecurity in Nigeria, a practical approach, is both timely and critical. In a world increasingly defined by complex and asymmetric threats, the need for innovative thinking, collaboration, and proactive strategies has never been more urgent than now. From terrorism and cybercrime to transnational organized crime and climate-induced conflicts, the challenges we face are multifaceted and demand a holistic approach. As security professionals, we must continually adapt to these dynamics, leveraging technology, intelligence, and partnership to stay ahead of our adversaries. This lecture, therefore, provides an opportunity to reflect on these issues, share insights, and chart a path forward for sustainable peace and security. It also highlights the importance of a comprehensive, all-encompassing government, whole of government, and whole of society approach to addressing insecurity, as there is no individual, no organization can do it alone. The challenges we're facing is a Nigerian challenge, and all Nigerians must come on deck to ensure that we tackle this insecurity. I'm therefore optimistic that this forum will delve into actionable strategies for mobilizing and collaboration, stressing the significance for practical collective action and shared responsibility. The Alumni Association of the National Institute for Security Studies has a unique role to play in shaping the future of security in Nigeria. As a network of seasoned professionals, you possess the knowledge, experience, and influence to drive meaningful change. I therefore urge you to use this platform not only to exchange ideas, but also to foster collaboration across agencies and institutions. Together we can build a safer and more secure Nigeria. Let me conclude by challenging all of us to rise to the occasion. The security of our nation is a collective responsibility, and each of us has a role to play. As we deliberate today, let us remember that the solution we seek must be practical, inclusive, and sustainable. Let us also remember the sacrifices of those who have paid the ultimate price in the line of duty, and let their memory inspire us to redouble our efforts. Finally, I would like to appreciate our special guest of honor, National Security Advisor, who has given us a wonderful platform for us to work together in unity. to say thank you, sir. Your commitment and most dedication to this, despite your business, is always good. To say very good, thank you very well, sir. I also appreciate all heads of agencies, invited guests, for gracing this occasion. Once again, I congratulate our chief host, the Director General of the Department of State Security, Oluwatosin Ajayi, MON, and the Alumni Association on this milestone. And
that's enough. So then you get to hear about the Ribadu's reaction. His own reaction makes it more kind of like they'll say, "Omo, a pay now." You know, when something happens, they say, "Omo, a pay now." Say, "No pay me. You no pay me at all." Why he paying you? Talk true. To Ribadu, it was like they can go to hell, something like that. Like, go to hell with your visa. The world will not respect you, okay? Simply because you have this bigger population, as some of them will kind of like brag. The world will not respect you if you go about, treating your people, your citizens like a piece of shit, right? The world will not respect you if you go all over the place with a bowl in your hand, like beggy. With the APC, Nigeria is living on what is called the old glory. And the more APC, is in charge of that contraption, the more whatever glory that Nigeria ever enjoyed, the more it will be eroded. So to Ribadu, it is an insult to not give visa to the chief of defense staff, or chief of defense staff of Nigeria, and guess is usage of what? You go to hell. Listen to the animal.
Thank you for the courage to say that Canada denied you. They can go to hell. Even though it's painful, it's disrespectful, but we are people. We are strong. And I agree with you. We have to fix our country. We have to do it well. Yes, this disrespect is too much. So, yet is another reason why we work hard to make Nigeria work and be respected. Thank you for the courage to say that Canada.
Nuisance Lele. Nuisance Lele.
Papa nuisance. Ribadu is a criminal. I just want to be very clear on that, okay? So to every one of us watching this broadcast right now, I want you to take it in and know that Ribadu is a criminal. And don't act shocked. He is also a career criminal. And that is why he is very much useful to Thiefnubu, the Jaga bandits, the Jaga addicts, the Ashiwaju Enyole, Ashiwaju Enyagbero. That is why I found him pretty much easier. Is as corrupt. I don't know, maybe saying it again like is what some of you need. Because I think there are those who believe that because Ribadu was once it was the first EFCC chair that investigated so many state governors, including this Thiefnubu and others. And then he became, he went back on to go and bend the knee and also kiss the ring. And he became the presidential candidate for Thiefnubu's party in 2011. And since then, he has been trying to convince Thiefnubu that, oh God, you can trust me. And today he is the national security advisor to Kolu. But that is not the news. The news is that, how many of you remember the Binance debacle when Thiefnubu, Wale Idun, and the rest of the rogues in his illegitimate government, when they devalued Nigeria Naira because of IMF loan. Remember, they call it floating of the Naira, removal of the fuel subsidy, and then the nosedive or the downturn of the Nigeria economy, like Bukwari did in 2017 with Emefiele. When Emefiele blamed the Naira losing its value on the trees in a particular area in Abuja. How many of you remember that? Well, Nigeria is not a real place to start with, okay, but again, the Bukwari's regime, in their own cover, the economist who is your central bank governor, Emefiele, said the reason why Nigeria Naira was losing value was because some bureau de change or money changers were staying under trees, and under trees in Abuja to sell money. And because the trees were providing shade for these money changers, that was the reason why Nigeria Naira was losing value. So they decided to cut down all the trees. They cut down about 70 trees so that the money changers can have a place to stay, to be changing money. Nigeria Naira never gained any value because of that. You remember Aboki Forex? They blamed Aboki Forex as well, that Aboki Forex was the reason why Nigeria Naira was crashing, because it kept doling out the exchange rate every day. And that was why the Nigerian government under Bukwari lost control, and the only thing they could do was to make sure that they shut down Aboki Forex. And they did. Listen, this was when Nigeria Naira to dollar was somewhere around 400, 500 Naira. So by the time Bukwari was done and Emefiele was done, Nigeria Naira was 710 Naira to $1. Now, fast forward to 2024, last year, after Thiefnubu. Then Nigeria Naira, which was floated, the subsidy gone, and the entire policy, the policies of Thiefnubu were already taking shape, like taking all of you to your destination, the poverty destination. From nowhere, they just announced that Binance is banned in Nigeria. You know, what do you call that thing again? Pay to pay, or P2P. Is that what you call it? P2P. Where if I have $100 to sell and you have $100 to buy, so I can just come to you and say, okay, I am selling you this $100 for, per dollar, I'm selling it to you for 900 Naira or 1,000 Naira or 1,500 Naira. And then if you want it, right? So you give me your details. I'll send the money to your bank account. You send the dollar to me as well. P2P. Then the Thiefnubu's regime came and they said, some people looted Nigeria and they have stolen $26 billion. And it was Binance and it was the reasons why Nigeria Naira lost its value under Thiefnubu. So it was Binance. First, they said Binance didn't pay tax in Nigeria because Binance didn't have office in Nigeria. They are all trading in crypto, like all of them. Just like when they said they banned cryptocurrency, crypto in Nigeria, but Emefiele had a crypto app on his phone. Malamu had a crypto app on his phone. And so were some of those people inside the Bukwari's government. They were trading in crypto, but they claimed they banned it. Remember that time? So they started the propaganda and work going on Nigeria, man. Damn. Like you will see educated people. They will be defending lies cooked by the rogues in government. Baseless lies. But you get what? You will be educated people. They will be pushing and promoting the lies with passion. It's true. You don't understand. These people are enemy of Nigeria. This crypto, this Binance, I mean, the people who stole money from Nigeria, they've hidden their money in, this were the talking point of Ribadu and others. So they kept the money in crypto wallets. So these people they are the ones destroying our country, Nigeria. I'm on IAPC Olega. All of now, where they follow APC, tinyo ne dalaye, ofo aro, ofo osan, ofo ale, ofo omo, ofo aya, ofo ise, ofo, le ma fi gbogbo aye yin live. If you have paid attention to what these guys have done, right? Most of the time, right? Once they drive the wave of their propaganda, it usually lasts for maybe a week. Then sometimes it can be like for like a month. Then afterward, right? They are gone. They've forgotten about everything they said about this. They've moved to another thing. Once they push another agenda like that, then everybody just goes with that one. Yes, let me tell you, we have to say, you and we have to abulori buku ni and you know buku masha fani in radai. Thiefnubu is kind of pushing agenda, and you are ignoring the obvious. So they are looking for people to actually put the blame on. So this Binance guy were like a perfect match. So what did they do? They said Binance was responsible for Nigeria Naira losing value, and educated people, these educated mofos, believed them. Well, I don't know if they believed them, but it suited the agenda, so they pushed it. I said, this doesn't make any sense. Binance is everywhere all over the world. So if you think some people have done something, like they have stolen government money, for example, like Mayegu is accused of, for example, stealing 100 billion naira. And in our investigation, we discovered that he has kept some of this money in crypto. And from our you are government now. That's what they do all over this place. Even your crypto is not hidden. You know that. Even though they say that you can hide your money in crypto. No, you don't. Nothing is hidden. It depends on who is looking. If government is looking and they have these traces and evidence that you have committed a crime and you kept the money in cryptocurrency, they go on villain. Yeah, they will. So, but you first, I mean, if you think, for example, you see people who have stolen money, government money, and they have kept the money in a cryptocurrency, right? So with all of your evidence, you can then possibly either approach, listen to this though, either approach these Binance guys and say, listen, we have evidence that more than $2 billion of government money is hidden in cryptocurrency, even though they are only trading on your platform, but we need these so details. Now, if the crypto says because of privacy, here you get customers' privacy, we can't give you anything. You can ask the court. A court judgment can say, give them this info. But there was nothing like that. So when these guys arrived Nigeria, what is his name again? Tigray, sorry, Tigran Gambarayan. He's American, right? So their own intention was to visit Nigeria, meet with the government, and discuss the possibility of them finding a common ground on this issue of banning Binance. Because there are millions of Nigerians, both in Nigeria and outside Nigeria, who have accounts with Binance. Okay, so if and they are just people who are just buying and selling their own currencies. It's that's what you call the P2P. Abi. So these guys now go to Nigeria. When they got to Nigeria, their intention was to meet with the government or the government representatives, find a way around it, see how they can help the government on whatever they are doing. Sorry if your own audio is going back and forth. It is not from this side. It should be so perfect. Or if your own audio is, if your audio is going back and forth, right? That is not me. All right. I'm sorry. I know it's not going to be as perfect as, as we usually have it, right? But it's also not that bad. Okay, I'm using this. I don't want to tell you the phone, but it's actually a phone that just came out. Can you believe that? This phone just came out. I think it was on a Thursday. Do you believe that? Yeah. So it's a brand new phone and a very sophisticated one indeed. So audio should be fine. I mean, should be fine. It is the video that I'm not sure is going to be like so great, but people said it is manageable, and that's all we need. You get me now? So it should be manageable. Anyway, let me continue my story. So this Tigrayan guy, let me see if I can put his picture up. You can remember the guy that was taken to the courts every now and then there, right? That's him. Yeah. If you know what I'm talking. It is Android though, because me, I know they use iPhone. I don't like iPhone. So, but I'm talking about a phone that is just about 4 days old. Imagine. Anyway, so when they got to Nigeria, the first set of people, I'm coming. I want to bring up a particular image as well. Give me a sec. What's this lady's name? Okay, don't worry. So when they got to Nigeria, they said the House of Representatives invited them. House of Representatives Nigeria, they were investigating Binance. They launched probe into Binance. They don't know, these guys don't give a shit about Binance or anything, but typically, right? Milady Flora, it should be very clear, man. Check your own device, okay, please. And I'm so sorry if the audio is not as perfect as I expect it to be, though, but yeah, it should be fine. It should. So when they go to Nigeria, they said House of Representatives now called them. And their intention was to attend the House of Representatives hearing. They didn't know that they are going to meet criminals. So to them, they thought, oh, they are doing, what do you call it? They are doing investigation and all of that. No, nobody is doing any investigation. That money-making thing. They were going online to go and read about countries that have, penalized Binance, like India, like UK, like the United States, who have charged them for, financial impropriety. And when you go and read the story of this financial impropriety and what have you, this were because Binance was protecting the identity or the information of people that are under investigation. So because they did not provide the information requested of them from them by these countries, that is why they were penalized. But in the case of Nigeria, when they got to Nigeria, they said the House of Representatives, first, they said they put together like a camera crew, like a press. No press, so the cameras, they were not plugged, according to the guy, but they disguised them like the media is here. Okay. So if you have to go out and come back into the broadcast, maybe it will work for you. All right. So I know, but I mean, how would I know these NPCs? That's why I have to kind of try and respond once in a while if I can. I'm sorry, I know it's a bit of a distraction, okay? But I'm sorry. So, but let's continue. So he said when they got there, the House of Representative guys, committee investigating how Binance affects Nigeria Naira. And then after all the talk, the next thing, the committee was demanding for $150 million as bribe. We thought you were investigating something. Like I said as well, like when these guys got to Nigeria, they expected the government of Nigeria to say, we are investigating this. And we need information on them. And this is what we found on them. The money stolen. But there was nothing like that. So House of Representatives was asking for $150 million from these guys who are just representing a company. And when they were not ready to play ball, that was when DSS got invited. DSS took these two guys representing Binance and they told them they've arrested them. Then they took them to Ribadu, NSA. So when they got to the NSA's office, Ribadu's office, another set of billing started. Look at these guys. The House of Representative members that demanded for money. Here is one of them. Okay. This one is Obina. Right? Ginger, Obina, Onwusibe. This one. Among the committee members that demanded for ransom money. Here is another one. This one represents Ishiala, Ongwa North, Ishiala, Ongwa South Federal Constituency of Abia State. He's from Abia State. He's a Labour Party. Yeah, I heard that he's a Labour Party rep member. Now, here is another one. This one represents Adina Ada, Okweku Ogbadiba Federal Constituency. Now, his own name is Philip Agbese. See his face. The guys who wanted to collect $150 million. Here is the third one. Peter A. Apanke, who represents, what's this? I mean, this is not so clear. Who represents Obiaku Central. Okay, you know what? I can pick that up elsewhere. Anyway, these were the three guys that wanted to collect $150 million from Binance. So when they now go to the office of the NSA, another set of demand kicked off. In fact, you know what? Give me a sec. This is where I'm going to get it better, okay? Pardon me. You know, normally, right, in our studio, all of this would have been like sorted one after the other. And, you know, I could be like jumping from one loop to another. But now I have to improvise, okay? So thank you. Right. What is that? So first thing first, okay? The faces. So you see that Peter Apanke. Where is Peter? Peter Apanke. Philip Agbese. This is Peter Apanke. See his face, right? Now, he represents Obanluku, Obudu, Bekwara constituency from Cross River State. Is a PDP. Philip Agbese, right? That one is, hang on, who is Philip? Yeah, Philip Agbese, which is this guy. He is from Ado, Okpoku, Ogbadibo, Federal Constituency of Benue State. The third one, Ginger, I've told you of that one. That one represented somewhere from Anambra. I'm sorry, Abia rather. Now, the fourth one, when they now go to the office of the NSA, ladies and gentlemen, there is a guy who is Ahmad Sahad Abubakar. He is EFCC's zonal head in Abuja. So they invited the EFCC. This is Ribadu now playing the script. So they invited the EFCC to come. Then within the EFCC, there's another guy called Olalekan Ogunjobi. Okay, he's a detective, EFCC detective. Then Ribadu himself. Now, let me show you the face of Abubakar. This is Abubakar. That's Abubakar. Okay. Now, which is the EFCC zonal head, Abuja. Then you have Ogunjobi Olalekan. See Ogunjobi Olalekan. Ogunjobi Olalekan is a EFCC detective. Okay. Then Ribadu, the chief criminal. who put together the whole scheme. Hey, that's Ribadu. Now, Ribadu, in his office as the National Security Advisor to Thiefnubu, now told the Binance guys, listen, guys, we want you to give to us all the details of every Nigerian that is registered on Binance. But I mean, I get Binance account, so they're not for give my details to Ribadu, right? Even though I don't get money there. And these ones were like, no, it doesn't work that way. That's not how this works. Yeah. If you have people you are investigating and you know we can be of help, that's how we're going to do it. Just a moment ago, some guys were asking us for $150 million if we want this to go away. Like, what is this? That was the beginning of the abduction of these guys. So, like, they kidnapped them. Like, Baba, they kidnapped them for ransom. They told them categorically that they would have to keep them until Binance was ready to pay the bribe, which Ribadu also did, requested for. Do you know how much Ribadu requested for? First, Ribadu was like, we're going to charge you $10 billion. No, $20 billion. Fine. I was like, fine, on what? And we are not going to release you until your Oga pay substantial part of that money. So to them, it was like, okay, you are kidnapping us, right? You have to keep us here. So we have to be here until somebody pays. Is that the point? This is not about investigating. So that was when the guy started getting used to the corrupt system of Nigeria. He shared his whole story. Baba, I'm telling you, he shared his whole story enough that let me see if I can pick one of them up for you. And Ribadu and his guys have been on social media denying all these things. Are you believing this person instead of you to believe your own country? Why are you people not in love with your, like, why don't you love your country? Let me read this out to you. He said some unknown facts. That's the guy who said some unknown facts. You can read the rest in the Wired article. He said the DSS was involved in the House of Representatives matter. We met with them at their office on Friday, January 5, 2024, as a prerequisite to our meeting with the House of Representatives. They alluded to the fact that we had to comply with whatever the House members instructed us to do. At the House meeting, there were 3 members present. 2 of them were Peter Akpanke and Philip Agbese, both working under the leadership of Jinja Obina Onwusibe. There was a 3rd House member, but I don't recall his name. They set up fake cameras and media to make the meeting appear official, but the cameras weren't even plugged in. As you may already know, this ended with them asking for $150 million bribe paid in cryptocurrency into their personal wallet. A Mickey Mouse operation at its best. Nuhu Ribadu invited us to the official meeting and walked through Saad Abubakar. Another key figure in this situation was Ama Adama Beloji. Ogunjobi was just a pawn. They used him too. This was sold as a friendly meeting with the NSA, the head of the SEC, and the CBN governor, and include the discussion of the bribe that was solicited by the House of Representatives. The $26 billion figure they kept pushing publicly as some mystery money escaping Nigeria is complete bullshit. This information was provided in response to their request and was simply cumulative trade data for Nigerians on the platform. It was just people buying and selling crypto. For example, if you trade $100 100 times, that is $10,000 in trade volume. But in reality, you only used $100. Again, just another example of them lying to cover up their bullshit investigation. They lied about Nadim escaping during the mosque prayer. Remember that time when they said one of them escaped? In reality, he returned and escaped afterward. I don't know exactly how he managed to flee. He emailed me in November, but we haven't discussed the details of his escape. It's possible he paid someone off, but I have no proof. If Beloji had simply checked his passport for a visa, he would have realized that Nadim did not use that passport to travel to Nigeria. They sent a letter to the US Embassy and the British High Commission, falsely claiming that we were voluntarily participating in strategic talks. This was a blatant lie. Nadim did not escape lawful detention. We were being held illegally. Beloji even admitted that he would fabricate evidence to obtain a court order to detain us for 14 days. Once the order expired, they were unable to get an extension from the judge. At that point, they continued holding us illegally and had no justification for doing so. There was a lot of noise about using Interpol to capture Nadim as someone who has been involved in multiple extradition cases. I can confidently say that this was a joke. Extradition is a lengthy legal process, and no national judge in Kenya or wherever would ever approve extradition for someone who escaped illegal detention at the hands of rogue law enforcement agents. So this was Nadim. It was a long ride. I mean, it was a long post, though. Here you go. Said they also detained innocent EFCC detectives who weren't even present when Nadim escaped. If anyone should have been detained, it was Beloji for multiple basic law enforcement failures, incompetence and negligence, including one, failing to search our belongings; 2, not checking passport for visas; 3, neglecting to coordinate with the immigration to issue travel restriction or alerts; mismanaging the situation internationally, creating an unnecessary diplomatic crisis. Right? Is kind of like being fair. But you know what? The guy was like, listen, we later realized that we were dealing with criminals, rogues, corrupt government agents whose interest was like, pay us something. If you pay us, this whole thing can go away. While the rest of the Nigerians were being told that the reason why they are paying through their noses, right? Paying through their noses for basic things was because Binance or some Nigerians stole money and they put it in cryptocurrency. Again, it is part of what actually really got Ribadu talking again, and the second time in the news in a week. So the same Ribadu was said to be asking these Binance guys information on their political enemies. Like, how did he know that? Because they said it to him like, oh, those are like our political enemies. If you can give us this information, that information. They were looking for information to implicate people, to accuse them of something. Like, they're making these guys different offers, who are the offers that are pure criminal in nature. It's like, you know what, if you can give us this, or if you can give us that, or if you can, we can look into your case, and you need to pay us as well. In fact, you need to pay these House of Representatives members their money. You need to, so that they can let all these things go and know what have you. Corrupt system. Meanwhile, the reasons why your Nigerian Naira keeps, crashing and falling is simply because of the poor, not thought through policies of Thiefnubu, the madman that told you subsidy was gone, and at the same time he told you to tighten your tighten your belt for economic austerity and what have you. But they themselves continue to lavish your money. Bought himself a private jet, presidential yacht, presidential house, vice presidential lodge in Abuja and in Lagos, and then spending over 8 billion. No, sorry, I think it was like 8 billion naira, right? In flying all over the world. I mean, so at the end of the day, when these guys finally got the diplomatic diplomatic intervention and they got released, So everybody just went away. Like, oh no, sorry. Yeah, everybody just pretended that, I won't say everybody, the Ronukus in particular, or this English-speaking talking heads, suddenly just moved on. Right? Sorry about that again. If we have anybody who is having audio issue, the audio is perfect, and I have to admit it as well, right? I'm sorry that some people prefer I just ignore it because it's distracting them and all that, but in all honesty, so this corrupt system. Meanwhile, the reasons why your Nigerian Naira keeps, crashing and falling is simply because of the. So it's all right. Let's keep it that way. I'm sorry, maybe because if I move closer back, it's more louder, and sometimes it can be like a little bit off, but it is not that bad for you to manage. Thank you. Just reason. Yeah, I see people are backing me up already. Right. So anyway, that is trending. It is just another way of showing to you the league of criminals in charge of that contraption as we speak, and their decisions. That's another thing. Their decisions, okay, their decisions or their actions or inaction and inactions contribute to the economic downturn that you are experiencing. They do not want to take responsibility. See, this guy blames everyone but themselves. They blame everyone. If they are not telling you that the rest of the world is also suffering, that is not peculiar to Nigeria. The only thing they have not succeeded in convincing the Nigerians is that electricity is not always available in all over the world. So it's not peculiar to Nigeria that Nigeria is having a collapsed national grid. That's the only thing they've not succeeded in convincing some of these Ronukus, or how much of these Ronukus have been trying to convince you as well. So the bottom line is, yeah, Nigeria is captured by who? By a bunch of criminals who means no well for that contraption. They do not mean any well. And that is why they do not take responsibility for anything they have done. They will never take responsibility as well. It is always going to be somebody else's problem, someone else's fault. Okay? That they do not have any sustainable economic policy to start with, whether short-term, mid-term, or long-term. They blame everyone else. They even blame some of you for breathing. Let me explain that. The contraption that the Ronukus, the Ronu Nazis, the bad idiots, the bad stats that they have, right, is a place where if you complain and say, a bag of rice for 90,000 naira, what kind of a country is this? Ronukus will ask you, must you eat rice? Can you imagine chicken, kilo chicken is now so and so. They say, must you eat chicken? Me, I know they eat chopped chicken anymore. It's a waste of money. In this in the time of poverty like this, it is the style of Prophet Yusuf that you must use, the Ronuku style.
In the time of poverty like this, the economic principle of Yusuf is what everybody should apply in his own lives. Eat little, save more. You don't know what is happening. Kese la anri lowo, makasakasa timbo. $1 was just 800 naira or thereabout a couple of months ago. Now $1 is over 1,000 naira. How much will it go? Nobody knows. Tori to nse falafulu. Ogba salary kilawa. Igberaga week. Ogbera resanle like. Eat little and save more. Aye ta nje chicken kola wayima. Aye shawama koma, aye ice cream ko, mugari. jẹ́ pọ̀nmọ́ gbàgbé táwọn doctors sọ pé kò ní nutritional value kí ló fẹ́ nutritional value pẹ̀lú kíní jẹ́ pọ̀nmọ́ mú gààrí orí ẹja wàláì kò rẹ́rìn bọ́ ọba lọ ṣe fàlàfòlò pẹ̀lú owó ìyà ó jẹ ọba kẹ́. This is the time to save.
It is the time to leave. It is a Ronuku style. Baba, Ronukus are telling people that you are able to afford your children's school fees as at when due. That you are able to build for yourself a mini house with a car, got married, you've got a small business, you've got your children. I mean, like, Ronukus were like, that was fake life. That was fake life. Yeah? Like somebody will have like 3 cars. You'll be having like 2 cars. Where some people don't even get any car. Eh? It's a fake life. Thank you, Jare, Baba Thiefnubu. Thank you, Baba Thiefnubu, for showing us that we have been living fake life because people know they can no longer afford to fuel their cars. Ronukus are happy. That means, you are now living in the reality. Eh? We are just living a fake life. We don't have any money to be subsidizing all this thing, but they have enough money to be, to be taking care of these overfed pigs, these gluttons. Oh, talking about the overfed pigs. They actually have passed. Thiefnubu submitted a budget of 47.9 trillion. Then he increased it to 52.9 trillion. Baba, the Akwabioli Senate, they have now passed a budget, a total budget of 45.9 trillion. That's like 46 trillion. They don't have their own. They don't pardon. Cushion them. Listen to this.
Distinguished senators, a bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation, the total sum of 54 trillion 990 billion 165 million 355,396 naira only.
Stop. Start again.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation, the total sum of 54 trillion 990 billion 165 million 355,396 naira only, of which 3 trillion 645 billion 761 million 358,925 naira only is for straight transfers. 14 trillion 317 billion 142 million 689,548 naira only is for debt service. 13 trillion 64 billion 9 million 682,673 naira only is for recurrent non-debt service expenditure, while the sum of 23 trillion 963 billion 251 million 624,250 naira only is for contribution to the Development Fund for Capital Expenditure for the year ending on the 31st day of December 2025, SB 681, third reading.
I must be very careful so that I will not say that this money is too much for me. A bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation, the total sum of 54 trillion 990 billion 165 million 355,366 naira only, of which 3 trillion 645 billion 761 million 358,925 naira only is for statutory transfers. 14 trillion 317 billion 142 million 689,548 naira only is for debt service. 13 trillion 64 billion 9 million 682,673 naira only is for recurrent non-debt expenditure, while the sum of 23 trillion 963 billion 251 million 624,250 naira only is for contribution to the Development Fund for Capital Expenditure for the year ending on the 31st day of December 2024. This bill for 2025. Of December, this bill is read a third time and passed. Let me thank the chairman of the Committee on Appropriation, Olami Lekon Yayi, and all the members of the Appropriation Committee, who are almost 2/3 of the Senate, including all the chairmen of our various committees, for working so hard to ensure probity, accountability, and prudent expenses of the federal government of Nigeria.
Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation, the total sum of 54,990,165,355,396 naira only, of which 3,645,700 statutory transfers, 14,317,142,689,548 naira, $588 naira, $14,317,140.
So there are 330,000 trillion. You did hear the trillion, Abi? Anyway, if you want to get to know more on how this supposed appropriation acts or the appropriation conversation is done, then you get to see a lot of misappropriation of this money, misallocation, misapplication. And the budget is so padded right now. And once we begin to dig into what they just passed, you realize that more than 4 trillion naira has been added, and that is going to be for fake projects, non-existing projects, and trillions of naira. Yeah, they are also servicing the debt with over 16 trillion, even though they are using this sort of like confusing names for them, so to say. Service debt, statutory transfer, that is the money they expect to share and all that. So you have a budget that is a budget of devaluation, a budget that sounds so big, but it is so little, and a budget that is, riddled with fake projects, money that they are just going to not only just allocate, but they're going to share, and it's going to disappear. And they will do it again next year, and they will do it again the year after, and the year after, and the year after, because that's what they do. Copy and paste, and money is allocated, and you never get to see what they use the money for. No, really. You never get to see that. And that's their budget, Another thing that trended this week is the issue of USAID. I think it's called the United States of America International Development. That is a USAID. Now, their job, from what we know, USAID employs over 14,000 staff, and they have more than 26,000, over 14,000 staff in the US. And they also have more than 26,000 staff all over the world. So Elon Musk, Donald Trump, and the Doge, I call them Doge. I don't know why. I mean, that's what I call that. I think they are called Doge. I've not actually heard anybody's called them that, so that I can know what it's called. So I just call it the way it's written, or the abbreviation of it's Doge. So it's Doge or Doge. DOGE, Department of Government Expenses, I think it's called. Expenditure. So their job is to look for any wastage in the government finances here in the US. And from what the Donald Trump campaign was built on, American first, you know what I mean? So America acts like they are the world police. The reason why America is so generous, right, is because it gives them the advantage to be involved in making decisions or taking decisions or influencing decisions across the world. It's a huge one. The United Nations, America is the major financier. World Health Organization, America is the major financier. World Education, America. You see, all this, America is always like there. And the purpose is to make sure that not only that the countries that make up the United Nations, right, not only that they are all there to do the Americans' bidding, not all of them, but majority. So America sort of have these developmental agendas and what have you scattered all over this world, more than 180 countries. That's what we had. And their fund goes into, funding agriculture, funding healthcare, funding education. Constructing water system, for the most disadvantaged communities all over the world. So these are great stuff, right? But you know, if you want to discredit I don't know if I should use the word discredit, however, but if you really want to if you really want to get rid of what do you call it, something, you need to punch a hole. Okay, it's like you need to find some debt. So Americans are always complaining of them being abandoned while billions of their money is spent. They have no idea where their money is being spent to, but they shall know that they have junkies, they have drug addicts, they have homeless people, they have, you know, Americans who don't have any access to healthcare, this and that. You get, like, they can't afford it. But billions, hundreds of billions of American dollars goes abroad every year. So Donald Trump and Elon Musk's Doge or Doge group decided to find where this waste, what they call the wastages, American first, not the rest of the world first. That was when the USAID came under their search or their beam light. Now, what did they find? They said they found that apart from all the good things that the USAID has done for years now, for more than 40 years, all over the world, but there are some certain things they've spent money on. And none of this is in any way should be part of their, what do you call it, part of their goal. For example, funding opposition rebels, and then, you know, giving them money to topple government or change regime change in some countries, forcing this LGBTQ stuff on some countries and punishing the countries that said no, and you know, giving conditions before you give them aid. All of this, which they believe have led to a lot of manipulations all over the world. I don't want to be kind of listening to all those things again, okay? But the part that caught majority of Nigerians' attention is when one of the supposed Americans, you know, congressmen, you know, like his name is Perry, by the way. So he was reading from the Doge report, which was submitted to the House because they are probing the USAID. And that's why when Donald Trump suspended their money, right, it's automatically triggered a panic all over the world. Because guess what? There are so many NGOs all over the world, including Nigeria, whose funding comes from USAID. In fact, it's on record that in the last 10 years alone, USAID has given over $9 billion to NGOs in Nigeria. Different NGOs, girl child education, safety for girl child, what do you call that thing again? Sanitary pad. Is that what you call it? Sanitary pad for young girls who cannot afford, malaria treatment from mosquito, and all kind of other things that they have been involved in healthcare, in education, in you know, in commerce trade, where they give people money to start business, I think, right? Perry now said, from the report they have received, they discovered that USAID, an American government agency, has been involved. Okay, I think USAID is a United States Agency for International Development, I think, USAID. That is the right one, I think. So Perry said something, and he said, they have discovered that they've used American money to fund terrorists abroad. There are those who believe that Perry is known to be a kite flyer. They even call him a liar. That he's made some outlandish statements in the past that were never true. But the difference between whatever Perry said before and now is that Perry is actually reading a supposed Doge report on what USAID spent money on. He's not making that out himself, I think. So let me play it for you. Listen.
Who gets some of that money? Does that name ring a bell to anybody in the room? because your money, $697 million annually, plus the shipments of cash funds madrasas, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, ISIS Khorasan, terrorist training camps. That's what it's funding. If you think that the program under Operation Enduring Sentinel entitled Women's Scholarship Endowment, which receives $60 million annually, or the Young Women Lead, which gets about $5 million annually, is going to women who, by the way, if you read the Inspector General's report, is telling you that the Taliban does not allow women to speak in public. Yet somehow you're believing, and American people are supposed to believe, that this money is going for the betterment of the women in Afghanistan. It is not. You are funding terrorism, and it's coming through USAID. And it's not just Afghanistan, because Pakistan's right next door. USAID spent $840 million in the last 20 years on Pakistan's education-related program. It includes $136 million to build 120 schools, of which there is zero evidence that any of them were built. Why would there be any evidence? The Inspector General can't get in to see them. But you know what? We doubled down and spent $20 million from USAID to create educational television programs for children unable to attend the physical school. Yeah, they can't attend it because it doesn't exist. You paid for it. Somebody else got the money. You are paying for terrorism. This has got to end. I yield, Mr. Chairman.
And Nigerians reacted straight up. Like all this money, they might come out like, on paper, they look like, oh, that looks legit. But when you begin to kind of probe it further, you're like, nah, this doesn't look legit. And then automatically they believe that this money that were claimed to be spent in the terror-prone areas, they are not spent on the people. They were spent in funding terrorism. A very big one for those of us who are still alive. Yesterday, I said something about this, right? And I said the role that Barack Obama played, as well as his government in Nigeria. Somebody came on and they commented and said, I don't know if you are watching or you that person. I can't remember your name, because I know the comment is probably gone now. I wish I had I picked on your name somehow so that I could possibly just use you as an example. Hang on, let me see if I can get the comments right. Give me a sec. Okay. Your claims about American sabotage of the security situation in Nigeria is false at best. Nigeria does not serve any geopolitical interest for the United States. You have no evidence to buttress your claims. What would they gain by sabotaging Nigeria's security? I beg, make una blame una leaders for the state of your country and nobody else. Because there are so many people who felt that way. He said, I had no evidence when the evidence abound. I have evidence to show that the American government under Barack Obama interfered in Nigeria political process in order to have an end predetermined result, which they finally got. And that end predetermined result is to truncate whatever progress Nigeria was making, because these are facts. These are not conjectures. They are not things made up. They are facts. They may be hard for you to accept. So what then is their gain? Well, let me ask you, what is the gain of America attacking Libya, NATO attacking Libya, taking out Muammar Gaddafi, when they knew that the same Libya, once Libya fell, it is going to jeopardize the entire region, which is what happened. And Barack Obama came out and said, Libya was one of the greatest mistakes of his presidency. But why did they attack Libya? Libya was peaceful. Terrorism that you are witnessing today in West Africa, from the North Africa to West Africa, they never existed this much. But what did the Americans do? America under Obama went on to say Muammar Gaddafi was accused of human rights abuses. So Libyans needed freedom and democracy. So afterward, what happened to Libya? So if you think a stable, organized, and progressing Nigeria somehow is or was not, I wouldn't say a threat to them, okay? Because you may never really know why they had to do it. But there are instances, there are some pieces of information that can help you understand what happened. Obama's America approached some West African countries, not just West African, well, African countries. And this was like about 12, 13 years ago. This is not just yesterday now, like 13 years ago, where they were pushing their LGBTQ agenda. And categorically, Nigeria rejected that. Now, you can call that conspiracy, but what you should never try to do is to deny some evidence of their involvement, their collusion in bringing APC, Egbekegbe, to power. Yeah, you may be right that blame your leaders, I don't see them as leaders, I see them as their puppets. But there's a guy called Axelrod. Axelrod was Obama's campaign manager or thereabout, a very senior member of Change campaign for Obama. Right? So when they concluded on, Jonathan, right? It was time just to go for the opposition. The regime change in Nigeria was to happen. Axelrod became the consultant advisor to APC, Egbekegbe, the terrorist party. John Kerry then was the Secretary of State to Abi. What was John Kerry to Obama then? Secretary of State also. John Kerry traveled from the US, traveled down to Nigeria, and he went straight into the House Rock to threaten the same Jonathan that, listen, that election must hold. It must. If any other postponement will bring more sanction to Nigeria. And that's not just that. Nigeria was battling with Boko Haram terrorists, right? And it is on record that America was supposed to actually help Nigeria. So what did Obama do? He placed a sanction on Nigeria. So what do you mean by, well, I have no evidence? What will be your name, Seth? Eteman. So mad, a country like Nigeria was fighting terrorists that were bombing left, right, and center at the time. Nigeria needed all the support it could get, Abi. But it was around that time, Obama said they must stop selling weapons to Nigeria. I remember going on Nigeria. Nigeria went to South Africa in what was supposed to be country to country sort of a trade, but we are in the black market or something like that. And then South Africa, that agreed to sell weapons to Nigeria, suddenly changed their mind and arrested the people who came to pay for it. So that is figment of my imagination. Show why meaning. Yeah, you may be right on the part of your leaders should be blamed this or that. No, but that the what do you call it? The collusion from the people who are supposed to be the most powerful country in the world that should be helping Nigeria. So they truncated Nigeria's safety, Nigeria's security. Obama did all of that. So I don't give a damn about how you feel about Obama. But that is a fact. That happened. And that's what you call the regime change, when this one is not playing ball, another one will play ball. That's how it works. Even though the same Jonathan was I don't know if he was a darling, but in 2011, okay, when the Yaradua Kaaba would never allow Jonathan to take office. Well, behind the scene, I don't have evidence of that too. But I think I do. On the part where Goodluck Jonathan was in Washington sometimes in 2013, before they finally got rid of him. And he was thanking Obama. I think I even have that clip with when he met with Obama. So he said it himself, how they helped him, and then how others. It is so ironical, by the way, right? Egberi Jolantan was vice president, okay? And Yaradua was dead for like a week, but they didn't announce that he's dead. But before he died, they already used all the means to fence Jonathan out, okay? Until when Dora Akunyili and others within the government, right? Oruma Ote and the rest of them like that, right? Until they protested and decided that they were going to go public, because they don't even see the person that appointed them as ministers now anymore. They don't even see him physically. Like, you guys, that they either declared Yaradua dead, or they will do it. On the outer side, the likes of Thiefnubu and co, they were organizing the civil society group to be protesting that Jonathan must be made president. I mean, if you remember, I don't know how old you are, but at least those of you who are old enough will remember this played out, right? This was in 2010. So in 2011, the same privilege, to the point that the same Jonathan met with Thiefnubu before the 2011 election. As much as Thiefnubu was pushing Ribadu as his candidate, Thiefnubu was also meeting with Jonathan, who is the presidential candidate of PDP. And twice he was lifted from Lagos to Abuja to go and meet Jonathan inside the Aso Rock in the dead of the night on their 2011 deal. And that was when Thiefnubu got the idea of he can be president. Like, with this caliber of people here holding this power, man, I can be president too. That was the moment the idea of him hoping that he can be president of Nigeria started from. The weakness of Jonathan and all of that. So you get. So how the whole thing now changed is politics, you would say, right? Because those who were shouting Jonathan in 2010, by 2012, they were on the streets occupying Nigeria because the same Jonathan removed the subsidy. And since then, it has been a downward spiral for Jonathan. But he was in Washington in 2013, after the protest of 2012, where he was thanking Obama. But unfortunately, he rejected this gay rights, gay bill, gay this and that. And I think that same 2013 was when he signed, no, hang on, I think he signed the deal in 2013. He signed the homosexuality law, which got the Obamas of this world completely enraged. So here is a clip of him in 2013 with Obama.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Since after we're meeting for the first time after the elections, even though I sent a letter, I would like to formally congratulate you for the electoral victory. And thank you for inviting me and my team to attend with you today before the UN General Assembly discussions tomorrow. Nigeria and US have been natural allies, and the relations have been very strong. And it's beyond the interests of Nigeria and the United States of America alone. Well, in terms of Nigeria and the United States of America, Nigeria, of course, is the second largest economy in Africa, the most populated African state. About 20% of Africans are in Nigeria. So it's the largest trading partner of the United States of America and the continent of Africa. So it's a key country, and we're sharing that relationship between America and Nigeria. I know that America is, of course, a strong country in terms of global peace and security, the biggest economy. Nigeria play big at the African level, the second largest economy, but in terms of peace and security, in fact, it's the #1 country to stabilize West Africa and the rest of Africa. So the relationship between these two countries is very, very dear, not just to America and Nigeria, but to West Africa and the rest of Africa. And I always say that for you to fix the world, you must fix Africa. And for you to fix Africa, you have to fix Nigeria. And if you don't fix Nigeria, then you lost it. You must fix Nigeria, because that's the highest concentration of blacks in the globe. For this meeting, it will be fruitful because just like President Barack Obama said, the whole world is facing challenges, economic issues, but especially the security issues. Just mentioned about the incident that happened in Kenya. Join lawmakers to express our condolences and sympathy for what happened. Because we have experienced us recently and we still experiencing in Nigeria. So I feel the pains of President Kenyatta to get that level of attack, that dastardly attack. And that is why we maintain that terror anywhere in the world is terror on all of us. And we call on the global leaders to come together and fight terror. And until we all agree to wipe out terror all over the world will continue to embarrass by this act of violence. Sometimes you don't know whether people are really safe to do what they are doing. Nigeria will continue to cooperate with America to solve our problems, continental problems, of course, and also the problems of the world. And that is one of the reasons we believe that today, at the end of our discussions, we will be quite pleased because we know that America has been supporting us, especially this recent terror attack on us by the local Boko Haram. But we will need even more support because collectively we'll be able to solve the problem. If Nigeria alone is allowed, without the support of the external community, it will take us a longer period. The shorter period, the better to protect human lives. So once again, I thank you, Mr. President, for this invitation. We're quite grateful for that. We'll be able to discuss these key issues, the economic issues, the security issues. And I have to commend you on the Power Africa initiative, and also the Young Leaders, African Young Leaders Initiative. And somehow we think alike, because in Nigeria we have three products about young people. One we call You Win, and that one called the Nanopreneurs that focus on encouraging young graduates to go into agriculture for us to produce the middle manpower that are the drivers of the economy. And we give them grants to establish farms, different farms. You win the right proposals, and we give them grants between $10,000 to $90,000 to establish small businesses. So we want young people to think about how they will employ themselves, not to wait for employment to come from bigger corporate bodies or governments. And of course, the Power Africa initiative is quite commendable. Of course, you know that presently Nigeria is privatizing our power infrastructure. I think some of the American companies, CBN or so, quite a number of them are quite involved. And so far, we have privatized about 3 billion assets, 3 billion worth of assets. And it's one of the most successful privatizations that we have ever done. Sometimes people talk about, oh, Nigeria could really do it correctly. But just like you mentioned about elections, our privatization program at over 3 billion, and we're still going on. So far, there are no stories at all. We are doing this based on the global best practice. And I want to commend America again for the assistance you gave us during the 2011 election. I did mention that even though I was contesting that election, I will make sure that the elections were done transparently. In most cases, Nigerian elections are very, very controversial. Even the one that brought me in as the vice president then was very, very controversial. Even at the level of the Supreme Court, out of the 7 justices, 4 were for upheld elections, 3 were against elections. Narrowly, elections have been annulled. But 2011 elections, in the appeal court, the 5 justices said that elections were fair and fair. When it was appealed to the Supreme Court, the 7 justices said that elections were fair and fair. And everybody, both local and international observers, said that from 1960 that Nigeria gained independence, the 2011 elections are the best. And we promise to keep faith with that. We'll continue to even improve on that, because we believe that one thing to make sure that you don't encourage wrongdoing, whether corruption, nepotism, or whatever, is to make sure that people elect those who represent them. And I promise Nigerians that.
That's Egbere Jolantan. Well, he's gone now. He's made peace with himself, while the people he claimed their blood was not worthy of being spilled for his own political agenda. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of them have now been killed by the same lunatics, the murderers, the terrorists in the APC. And the rest is history today. You know, somebody was telling me there that it is fake news that Libya has no central government. I was like, it is, don't mind those fake news. That person said, loud comedy or something. In a comedy, you must be joking though, right? So you live in Libya. Amazing. There is no central, that's established. There is no, since the death of, since the end of Gaddafi, Libya has become it's like a death trap, especially for you who is black. So it is a place where we are not just saying, we have evidence of people being locked up in cages and being sold as slaves. So if somebody says he lives in Libya and that is a fake news, maybe you are fake. Maybe you are the fake one. They have destroyed Nigeria. Nigeria has become economically destroyed enough that to recruit terrorists in Nigeria, to recruit fighters, for terrorists to recruit fighters, it has become a pastime. A video was shared by the Nigeria military, by the way, yesterday. And it's about a young boy that is a young terrorist recruited by Boko Haram. And yeah, he was caught and he was kind of like giving details of what really happened. I mean, how he became a fighter, from what age. Then he displayed how to take out the gun and put it back together, aim, and all of that. These are also the legacies of what the APC, what they brought upon Nigeria. Watch this.
Marcus. Yamada. Ajigi. I gave him Borno, I gave him. Thank you. Okay. Kace ka ga mana cewa ana koya muku bindiga. Su da wa suke koya muku bindiga? Mutane su biyar. Za ka yi kira mana sunayen? Ali. Shehu. Umar uku. Alhaji Shehu. Malam Oro. Su ne su biyar din. Okay, su biyar suke koya muku bindiga. Kuna da yawan da suke koya muku bindiga? Za mu ga mu 30 ko. Dukan ku yara irin sayunka ko kuma wanda suka girme ka, wanda kake girme su? Sa'a na dai kamar ni, kamar na gaba da ni. Kamar kai ma kadan. Okay, na kasa da kai kadan. Sayunka da kuma na gaba da ni. Wurin jeji ne ko kuma gari? Jeji ne wurin? Yanzu aka baka bindiga aka ce ka warware, za ka yi warware? Zan yi. Za ka iya? To shi kenan, ba shi bindiga da ganin ko shi.
Ya wanda ka iya? Iyaka? Ba da mu gani.
yanzu yi maka tambaya mana. Dubi bakin bindigan nan. Me suka koya muku cewa shine aikin wannan gefe?
Wajen harbi ne duk abin da za ka harba in ka sashi a nan sa ka samu.
In ka sa ina?
A nan. In ka duba shi haka. Ka sashi a tsakiyar nan za ka buga.
Yanzu za ka harbi wannan kwadon nan. Za ka harbi nan. Ka gwada mun gani. To shi kenan ka aje shi. Aje shi. Ka iya bude wannan? Bude shi mu gani. Cicire shi mu gani. Yayi sassaka su sake same da su.
Young boy, trained fighter for the terrorists, and there are thousands of them like that across the north. Thousands, and this is the legacy of APC, Egbekegbe, and what they have done to Nigeria. The moment the Sahel states, Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, Chad, the moment they said the French should leave, that in itself has now escalated the the level of terrorism in the Sahel right now. But no joke, like it is like everyday war right now. The terrorists are so sophisticated. They have like a modern warfare weapons. Yeah, surface to air rocket launchers where they can shoot down a fighter jet, shoot down a passenger jet in the sky. Terrorists who were just like gone for hire or kind of like scattered guns before. Now they are so organized in the Sahel. They are recruiting people, like they are recruiting more. The poorer these countries have become, the easier it has become to recruit terrorist fighters or to recruit fighters by the terrorists. Nigeria is their end goal anyway, always. Let me show you something. The one that came up just yesterday as well. I don't know the name of this terror group, okay? Or they are within this Sahel. They are among those who are ravaging countries like Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, the neighboring, the border towns. That's how they operate, like the Lakurawa in Nigeria, the border towns, and the people living in the border areas of all these countries. They have become the subject, the victims of this act of terrorism, and they are not slowing down. So organized, so kind of like coordinated as well. And then you sometimes feel like America and all these guys, they have all their satellites watching everyone, Abi. So if America want to read Africa or even Asia, I mean the Eastern, the Arabian Peninsula, if they want to read them of all these terrorists, they can see them. They are watching them here and there. But because the purpose at which they are existing is different agendas, different, But if not, Baba, if not just one rocket launch, they just launch and drop it in the midst of these guys. Do you know how scared it should be for anybody to be a terrorist and grouping like this? They will probably be hiding under the rock where satellite cameras can't pick them. But in Africa, this is how they group. Oh, give me a sec. What happened?
al'ada ɓiɓɓe adama ko abada gilla aduna tagga gilla ɓiɓɓe annabi adama ɗum goto waɗi banno fa war hande wolde wuuri wolde taƴetaji nden so heɓi Allah watti wolde fisa billa sabu Allah sooba sini en jeeyi toon sakiraɓe sabe Allah neɗɗo laɓɓina anniyamo teyɗintina tuubal mum waɗata ko Allah teyɗintine tuubal moƴƴine anniyaji moɗon hande ñande wolde ndelle alhamdulillahi an joguiɗo biika firlila man waɗa jaɓe kemɗiɗi saabe Allah to firli biika ma nanga rafal heɓe jebma kanto keɓa usumo porñoɗoɗa Allah na antum wona an joguiɗo kaldanoy kewɗi jaɓe saabe Allah to firli jaɓe ma warara heɓe kanto keɓa usuru no porñoɗoɗa wallahi Allah na andi ko woni ɓerde ndelle Allah kam wi hoore mo mata sha'una illa an yasha Allah ko muuyata tan Allah muuya ndelle temti sa waɗiri fa jebma kanto porñoɗa Allah yana humpiti fati yimɓe anda so a waɗiri fa gasa Allah na andi Allah kam barjoto saabe Allah kay ɓe jeɓe men ɗum ko saabi Allah kay ɓen jeɓe men gonge ngeldu filo ɗe moƴƴinde hay koye neɗɗo filo moƴƴinde illa neɗɗo wuuri men wiyete filo moƴƴingo si neɗɗo ma yeehi laakala han tagi mbarja tan woni so a moƴƴini joɓeɗa ko woni so a bonnino timmi joɓeɗa ko ndelle sakira saabi Allah filo ɗe moƴƴinde sinin en naati jeɓe garata sanne te a yiyata ɗaguɗo no fiɗe kaaƴe kawrata ema saabi Allah ta wonna fiɗe jeɓe mana han to ɗum saabu zamanu mo gonɗen hannde o jeɓe taggal anniya lobbo e anniyade haɓot jeya so heeɓi malfa jeɓe on wasila arande jeɓe on wasila ɗum won dabare rewtode tan tawi no wawi wadde wolde fiɗo ɓerde kasam tagga so a hantorama jeɓe a wona ɗagude muy wala fawi wuula cuuɗi ma a wala ko luyɗitidade ndelle saabi Allah tinta kanten jeɓe hay koye tinta ñaaƴiren yaltude wolde sippilam funa hanti fana laaɓe hay koye ɗum wona ñaaƴaɓe ko woni ñaaƴamen nde si.
You know, just imagine if, I mean, except if we have been watching too much American movies. If all this powerful America is a friend of Nigeria or Africa to this extent that they love Africa, they love us, and I'm not saying they do. I'm just saying that they do say they do, right? So once can take care of those ones, and anywhere they see them gathered before they go out there to carry out their, you know, their terrorism acts. Because to them, they are telling themselves that they are fighting jihad, they are fighting for Allah, and the rest of that. Do you understand? So those are the ones that they look like those ones that will end up in Nigeria with those who are already in Nigeria. You get that? Those are the terrorists. Those are the terrorists who wrap themselves up like the religious. There are other terrorists who are political terrorists operating in the you know, the political terrorist headquarters of Nigeria, which is Lagos, the mega city. Now Lagos is having I think it's called a yearly marathon event. Somoyele Sowore was there, but you know something. Immediately, some local terrorists, Agberos and what have you, APC, Egbekegbe members, immediately they spotted him. They went into a feast. They were so like up in arms, ready to physically attack Sowore. So what happened? This happened.
Why will you stop video? Why will you stop video? Why will you stop video? It's a public space. Everybody can record. He said you should not record. My brother. Yeah, you stand up. Please, kindly stand up.
But if you continue shouting, they will not stand up.
That's the thing.
We are going to work against responsible person. We will also not do like a responsible
Your cameraman call you. Leave them, let's go. Papa, you have done your work. What is the problem with you? This body
Well, I know too much. Nigeria. Well, that is in the public. Another drama that took place with, within their National Assembly was the one where one member was reporting Rebel Party and their rise for what they had to say about the plan to create states in Nigeria. And this guy is demanding that Arise and Akpati, they must issue an apology within the next 24 hours. You know, it's over now, right? But in his own complaint to his colleagues, this is what he had to say.
My name is Donald Kemikamba Ojogu. I represent the very wonderful people of Ilajes of the Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker and colleagues, I'm from Ondo State. I rise this morning relying on Order 6, Rules 1, 2, 3, and 5 of the standing orders of this Honorable House of Representatives under privilege. Mr. Speaker, this House of Representatives, ably led by you, remains not just another institution of government, but it is an embodiment of the authority and power vested in us by the good people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. May I recall, therefore, that in the course of exercising our constitutional responsibilities, as provided for under the 1999 Constitution as amended, and acting in accordance with the rules guiding this House, The Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, last week Thursday, presiding, announced proposals received from Nigerians regarding the request for state creation. It is important to note that this announcement was made in fulfillment of the requirements for such proposals and not as a bill or proposal initiated by this House of Representatives. Unfortunately, the announcement has generated varied degrees of reactions. However, one particular reaction that has crossed the bounds of decorum, decency, and professionalism, breaching the ethics of journalism, and by extension, the privileges of this House. Mr. Speaker and distinguished members of the Honorable House of Representatives, I rise today
1 minute, please.
under the aforementioned order to draw the attention of the Honorable House to a derogatory and offensive comment made by one Reuben Abati of Arise TV television, Arise News Television rather. In a viral video, Abati described the House of Representatives as stupid, in quotes, idiotic, in quotes, and this is an unfortunate, uncultured, and a profoundly baseless allegation that has undermined the integrity of this House and infringed on my privilege as a member of the House, and by extension, has put a bit of dent on my person as a trained journalist of over 27 years that has been molded for leadership roles in this country. Abati premised his unguided remarks on the cover story of this day, although he called it editorial, which is wrong, a sister media outlet with same ownership as Arise TV of Friday, 7th of February 2025, using it as a springboard for his unjustifiable assertion. His remarks, laden with arrogance and ignorance of facts, represent a gross display of professionalism, Mr. Speaker, and distinguished colleagues. It is also a betrayal of the very proud profession of journalism. Such vulgarity and lack of decorum are not only unacceptable, but are an affront to this honorable House and the dignity of its members who represent the good people of Nigeria. While this House upholds the principles of freedom of speech and press freedom, we must emphasize that such rights always come with high levels of responsibilities. Freedom of speech is not a license for the dissemination of falsehoods. It is also not an opportunity for the distortion of facts. It is also not an entrance into the promotion of decency and respect in the public service. Freedom of speech and press freedom is not a theater where people display insanity. This honorable House must not allow this insult to stand unchallenged. Therefore, I respectfully submit these two prayers for the consideration and approval of this House. One, demand an unreserved apology from Dr. Reuben Abati and Arise TV within 24 hours for their derogatory comments and for also providing the platform for the dissemination of such derogatory comments. And this will be within 24 hours. Two, and finally, take other measures deemed necessary by the House, particularly the House leadership, to address this national insult and prevent a reoccurrence. Right Honorable Speaker, distinguished colleagues, I thank you for this opportunity as I submit. Thank you.
Honorable is angry that they said they are stupid. But we have called them even worse than that, because being generous, see, it's like even our party is being generous by saying they are stupid anyway. So we'll see how that plays out. My time is now fast spent. I was supposed to spend just 2 hours with us, but I have been, more or less like, I've got so much, always so much to share. So the next few days as well, we will not be having phone calls on my Who's Diary Political until I return back to the UK. So I'm currently still in the US, and I'm going to be here for the next 2 weeks. So once in a while like this, I will pull up to share with us an update, because, our souls, the souls of the Templars of the Mayegun's Diary Political is like that of a very beautiful flower. It must be watered so that it will not wither. Now, that is what I have just done. So I'm going to say thank you so much for spending your time with me. But I think we should possibly celebrate Prince Jejeman's release. Today is when Prince Jejeman releases his Give Them Rice, single. Remember that. So you should probably just go on right now to YouTube to go and search for this Give Them Rice, a latest from Prince Jejeman, right? I'm going to go put on my shirt.
Some people to do, some people to do. If you do me, I go do you. If you holla, you go here do. Electricity no day, give them rice. Insecurity every day, give them rice. Trillions and billions, give them rice. Politicians they carry go, give them rice. They go they shop, go they talk. Give them rice. If I talk on a treason, give them rice. I know talk on a prison, give them rice. Abomination, give them rice. Today na tradition, give them rice. Ebola nona soro kapotaba, rice. Ebola ji walking stick agara. Nigeria bagona koko.
Give them rice. That's my second shirt from Prince Jejeman. I don't know if that will say. So give them rice. Prince. So we are listening to that now. I know I can't really share the full video for you with everyone, right? But at least, Prince Jejeman, congratulations. So we shall possibly even talk more about this, your piece, okay? So everyone, before I go, right? Like, I wanted to make it a series of, it's like everybody is just angry, everyone is raging, there's always something to get people mad in Nigeria, and I don't know what to say to preach to some of you to please just take life easy, because I don't know what it feels like for people to actually be living in that Nigeria and surviving. It is, this is like World War on its own. So when I saw this, I said it was mad that police checkpoint, somebody extorted his own family member at a police checkpoint, and then this happened.
We got stupid men. Fire your head. Wait. Fire me. Come. Fire me.
You get mad, I beat my brother. Nigeria army. No. Now commit to. Do anything again. You do anything. You came out the shoot gun for here. You came out the shoot gun. You came out the shoot gun. You go see what they happen to you. See. Don't worry. Wait. Go down. The craze. Go down.
See. No fire me, no be mad. I talk like this thing. Okay. You know say who the other guy. Go down. You know who the other guy. See. Hey, go down.
Shoot her now. You say get it back. Stand. I don't run. Do anything. Stop, my brother. No, me I cannot run. I don't go run. Which can happen with this one? Let's kill him. No. Why are you going to kill me? If you want shoot her. They.
Everybody is just mad. Basically mad, right? How could I take her easy? Okay. So thank you so much, everyone, for your time. I am going to I'm going to see you again. But tonight, we are attending Yomi Totu's birthday in Houston. So I'm going to go kind of like rock a little bit, right? And then I'll see you again. Thanks so much for your time. If you came in late, remember, you can watch this again. You can start it from the scratch. You want to see the trouble has returned. So next.
Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. Mayegun ti dé o ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. Lórí Facebook lórí YouTube. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Mayegun já wa sí. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. Bó bá ṣe eré àní Mayegun máa wí. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. Ó sì tún ṣe eré wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. Mayegun dayari politico. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. Godfatherism kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Mayegun. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o kẹgọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. Àní Mayegun làwa mọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun dayari Mayegun number one. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Mayegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Lórí Facebook. Mayegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Lórí YouTube. Mayegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́. Mayegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Ijó ìgbádìyẹ. Mayegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Pẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o. Mayegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Bí gómìnà kówó jẹ. Mayegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Ọlọ́pàá ti ń darí bá. Mayegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o. Mayegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Òpùrọ́ olóṣèlú. Mayegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran o. Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran. Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ o. Mayegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò fẹ́ bẹ̀. Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀.
Máyégún ó sọ pé wọn ò gbẹ́bẹ̀ oníkan ṣáàtì ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe fáwọn ará ìlú tó gbé wọn débẹ̀ o àyè.
Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Kì máa yí ṣe eré ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. Kì máa yí ṣe eré ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. Ẹni bá ti lè lẹ́bọ̀ lẹ́rù o ọmọ bá dèrò kàṣàyè tú wọn síta.
Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Tẹnitẹni ọmọ Máyégún ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni mo fọlọ́run sọ ẹ̀ bá kìlẹ́bù lóòótọ́ olódodo ìlú ọ̀tá ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni ìwọ ṣá máa ń ṣọ́ra kò sì mọ́ bẹ̀rù bọ́tà ń lè rí bóníṣègùn lé káwọn mọ̀mọ́ fi ṣera wọn ni ó ti dẹrùn tí wọn ò gbọ́dọ̀ sè mọ́bẹ̀. èèpo ọ̀bọ lọmọ bá dérò tàjẹ́ ò gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ ó ti dọba lórí àbínú ẹni kò sì mọ́ bùyà àìsíwọ́lu ní ẹnìkẹ́ ìgbódì ẹyin lábàrá o ó kó ẹni tó bá dán wò á kàmù. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ túnra kì. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ túnra kì o. Ẹni bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò òní fi wọ́n níran o.
Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.